You're listening to the OK Dad podcast.
Please leave your message for
Daddy-o.
Hi, Daddy.
Okay, Dad podcast. Let's start this thing.
You're listening to my husband talk a lot.
Híjole. All right.
Do you have the Zoom app or no? There it is. There it is. You got to unmute yourself though. Right now you're muted. Maybe I can unmute you. Nope. I can tap, ask to unmute.
All right.
There we go.
Now can you hear me?
Now we
All
got
right.
you, man.
All right, cool.
All right, dude. So welcome to another episode of the OK Dad podcast. So I got Christopher John Cooremans with me here. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Nobody else pronounces it right if they don't know me.
That's all right. How do you pronounce it?
Just the way you did, Cooremans, with the S at the end. Some people don't. They either don't put the S or it winds up in the middle or somewhere. I don't know. But yeah.
All right. Cool, man. So just to do like a quick little intro for everybody else out there that's either listening or watching, where are you from? Where are you at now? If you got any kids, and then if you just want to introduce yourself a little bit.
All right. Well, obviously I'm Chris. I was born in San Antonio. I was raised there for probably about half my life. Now I live in Lytle. I have a 5-year-old daughter. Her name's Brooklyn, and she's the best.
Nice, man. So if you can remember, what was like the first thoughts going through your mind when you found out you were gonna have a kid?
Oh man, that's a whole can of worms right there, man. So I was in a situation, obviously with a girl, and we were sort of off and on. We weren't really planning on having kids, or at least not yet. We weren't. I think it was one of those weekends, or she was like, all right, well, I'm gonna pick you up. Let's go hang out or whatever. And I think I want to say we were at the car wash. I thought she was joking because she would kind of like, she was trying to, I think she was trying to like let me down, like, she was gonna let me down easy. She didn't want to like, I was like, so wait, are you serious? And she would kind of laugh about it because I don't even think she was 100% sure yet, but she was like pretty sure.
Yeah.
So we were like at the car wash here in Lytle, and we were talking. Like that's one of the things that sticks with me, as we were at the car wash, and I was like, "Wait, so you really think you're pregnant?" And she was like, "Yeah, I really think I'm pregnant." And then I think we did a test, and sure enough, yeah.
That day y'all did the test?
I don't remember. I don't know if she had already done one and she wanted to do another one, something like that, but she was pretty sure, and obviously she was, her instincts were right, were spot on.
Yeah. So you weren't like expecting to have a kid at this point in your life then when she came along, did you?
I don't know. I wasn't exactly like against having a kid. I mean, if the circumstances were all crazy, I was like, yeah, like at that point in time, we were not ready as a couple. You know what I mean? That was my thinking anyways, but we made it work,
Yeah, I feel like you're saying, like, I don't know anybody who's like 100% prepared to have kids whenever they say it, but like when the time gets there, you're like, oh, like, I can step up, I can do this.
Like, yeah, like I think you're always ready in a sense, because my mentality was like, well, if it happens, because I knew like I wasn't being super safe or anything like that, so I always knew the risk, the chances of it, were always pretty good. So I was just told myself, was like, well, like if it happens, I mean, that's, you got, that's my own personal thing. Was like, yeah, like I'm gonna try to be there for this kid or whatever. And
yeah,
you know, I think I kind of liked it like that because it's unpredictable. You know, he's like, who really, you know, can plan, even when you do plan everything out and like, okay, we want to do it this way or this month at this time. It's like, that's cool too. But I don't know. I guess I like doing things the hard way.
Just like figuring out whatever comes next.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, truth be told, like looking back, it was, you know, I don't take it back. Like I don't regret it at all. Like it was a really, I mean, you learn, obviously you learn from it. And, it was an interesting experience, man. I mean, it still is, you know, the whole fatherhood thing.
Yeah, if you'd say like, what would you say like where your fatherhood like journey started at? Like, do you think it started like with your daughter? Do you think it's
Oh,
something that you
so
start picking up beforehand?
like, so even when I was like a dad, I mean, there was those, and I can only speak for myself. The first couple, you know, years, or just in any kind of way, you learn little by little to, you learn little by little how selfish you are, or at least I did. And
Yeah.
like, and you're like, oh man, like I have to devote not just time, but like I have to devote me, like myself, my, you know, like so there's a lot of things that I learned that, you know, I didn't know I was going to learn. Kids, they'll push buttons that you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
But when her mom got pregnant, uh, I will say that like maybe around, maybe like the second child, I don't know exactly when, but I know at some point I got I got I got very emotional. I don't know if I was feeding off of her emotions, but it definitely hit me too, because I would just be like sad for no reason, or you know, I know I couldn't wait. I know once like everything, you know, got planned out, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. We got through, you know, whatever issues we might have been going through at the time, and we, you know, we just said, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna stay together, and we're gonna do this thing right. um I was really looking forward to it. I know that we were both really looking forward to it. And like eventually, like, yeah, we just couldn't wait to see her, couldn't wait to hold her and all that stuff. And like you're anxious for that. And yeah, they come out really cute, because when they're like 1, 2, they can be super out of control at times, and they can be really mean, and they can so like
Yeah.
that's the reason why they're so cute.
Yeah, I know like today Asher we're asking, he like comes over and like gives me a snuggle, and I'm like, "Oh, I love you." And he's like, "I love you, Dad." I was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Here, get up on the couch with me." So I pull him up, and he just got all upset. He's like, "No, I don't want to get up here with you." And I'm like, "All right, let me put you back down." So I put him back down, and then he just starts like throwing a tantrum, and I'm like, "Asher, you need to like calm down." And he's just like, "No, no." And I was like, "All right, Asher, like I'll
Yeah,
let you have your time right there." And then he just starts throwing a full on tantrum. So I'm like, "All right, Asher, it's time to like go to your room." And so he's just walking to his room, like throwing like the biggest fit. It was you should have seen it, dude.
yeah,
But,
I definitely had a lot of, like, yeah, I had to get through, because you know, I don't know, I don't want to sound, I don't want to say, I'm trying to say this not wrong, but it's like I when you're looking at other people's kids, you're like, oh man, like I don't even know if I like kids. And then
yeah.
like you have one of, yeah, and then you have one of your own, and they you know, they do all the same stuff. You know, they're little humans, so they're gonna
Yeah,
have their tempers.
there's a lot of
And
people that say uh they don't like kids, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of people that think that, like, hey, I don't like kids. I think everybody likes their own kids for the most part,
yeah.
but I mean, there's some terrible kids out there though. Like
Yeah, I was
you
pretty
could
sure I
just
was
be at
gonna
like
have mine in.
Target and
I was
hear
pretty
them.
sure I was gonna have mine in check and be like, okay, you know, I know this kid's gonna get out of hand sometimes, but I think I got this. I think every kid.
Yeah, I think everybody goes into it, and I think I've told you that before. Like everybody goes into it, and they're just like, "Nah, dude, I got this." Like I told you, because I had Asher, 2 years after you had Brooke, because Asher's 3, Brooke's 5, right?
He just turned 5, and he just turned 3.
Yeah. So I remember you told me about it, and I was like, "Nah," like because I have patience, like I'm fine. And like, I do have the patience to be there for them, like throwing a tantrum and stuff, but like it's different. So like when people, it's funny, like if you have kids, you laugh at it when somebody without kids says it, right? Like, hey, dude, like, no, my kid's gonna be different. I
Yeah,
had
no.
we had a buddy at work who he's gonna be a new dad, right? And we were talking about something about tantrums or something, and he's like, nah, there's no way. He's like, my kid's not gonna do that. And me and my other buddy are looking at each other like, oh, it's gonna be even worse because you're thinking that. And he's like, nah, there's no way. He's like, I'm gonna set that kid straight, and we're like, nah. We just start laughing at each other.
Yeah, because they don't respond to like anger or yeah, like then you're just both yelling at each other. That don't work.
Yeah, and then once somebody's raising their voice and the kid's raising their voice, and they don't know yet. I think we've talked about it before. Like, this is a kid like that young. This is their first time doing anything. Like, you're telling them to pick up toys in their room. This is the first time in their life they're like ever have to pick up a toy or know something like that. So like, to us, we've like cleaned dishes, we've cleaned up a room, we've done that like over the period of our life. But to like a 2-3-year-old, this is like the 9th, 10th, time, the first time we're doing it with them, to like, hey, go pick up your room. And I think that's where like some parents get frustrated, like, hey, like, I've already asked you 100 times to do this, when like, in fact,
Yeah.
that's probably literally just 100 times you've asked. But they've never done it like fully. So even then, we're telling them, hey, go pick up your toys. So to them, like, okay, they picked up a toy and moved it. Like, they don't know that parents mean, hey, pick up every single toy, put it on the shelf, put all your dirty,
Yeah,
like they don't realize that.
I always understood it like cleaning up like 10 toys, let's say, like for a kid would be like us having to like paint the room or something. Like, so it's a big task for them. It's a big old task for them. And like mostly for me, the big one was, well, it still is, and it's always going to be. I mean, I have a daughter, for crying out loud, is trying to teach them to take no for an answer. And that's hard because a lot of us, like even myself, we don't like to hear the word no. We don't like to be denied. And that's a real tough one, because it's like, especially when they're young, because they don't understand the concept of you can't, like, if they want cookies and you don't have cookies, the cookies are at the store and you can't go to the store. And you have to explain to them, like, it's like, we don't have cookies. Like, I'm not being mean.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah. How do you think, to like jump into another topic, how do you think you bringing up your daughter is different than the way you got brought up?
Oh,
like, so what are some like differences like that immediately like stick out to you?
I feel like her and I have a really close, like bond. Even at such a young age, we joke around. Like, I try to be very open with, just, I want her to have a sense of humor. So I try to be, kind of goofy around her, and I try to talk to her like kind of like the way we're talking too. So I'm not to say that didn't happen when I was a kid, because of course there were laughs and there was all that. I had a pretty good childhood. I can't say that it was anything but.
You were like beaten with a stick and
yeah,
thrown
like,
under the stairs like Harry Potter.
Like, but I think the main difference is like, yeah, because she is my first and my only, I have that time to devote to her. So it's just me and her. Like, we're buddies, like we're always doing stuff together. She always wants to be with daddy. She always wants to be with me. That's another thing too. Like, I think I told you that when you were, before you had Asher, I was like it's not like they're just demanding, but they crave your attention. Like, they want all your attention. That's all they have is you. That's like their whole
like,
world.
Daddy, come here. Daddy, come here.
Everything, for everything, and to this day, yeah, to this day, like, yeah, she's I hear the word daddy every 5 minutes. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
They
How
rely on you.
so you're separated or you're divorced right now?
Yeah, we were separated for a while and we're divorced. Like, yeah, the divorce, that's just that was just the logistics. But yeah, we were separated already for some time. But
But you guys are I think you guys are doing a pretty good job co-parenting though.
oh, dude, I think we're doing great. I
Yeah.
even she'll tell you. I think we're both doing really great. I just hear about all the stories, and not just guys with bad baby mamas or bad exes or whatever, but even the other way around. I've seen, with family members, they have ex-husbands, who they don't, they're not really there for their kids, or they're not there at all. I've seen that. I've seen really ugly situations
I don't
where it never really gets fixed.
I can understand if like well, I can't understand it, but like I see where if one person doesn't want to be a part of the child's life or like the baby mama or baby daddy's life and like they make themselves not there, like I see that. But I don't it really I don't get it when like there's nothing preventing the other person from seeing their kid. I
Yeah.
don't get it when there's nothing preventing them and they don't want to be there. They don't want to show up, you know?
I think that's just like, I don't know, call it selfishness or call it like, maybe they're scared. I don't know about that, but I do know that, you know, there's a lot of situations where there's just animosity, where like both parents just can't get over whatever baggage that was left, and the kid pays for it. And then
Yeah.
they use the kid to, like, they'll either withhold the kid or drop the kid off, at an inconvenience. Like they'll just use the kid to spite the other. And I can
Yeah.
honestly say that there's really been none of that with you know there's really been none of that here. And oh my God, I'm thankful for that. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for that. It's been
Yeah,
really smooth.
I know you and Brooklyn's mom and y'all, I mean, in my eyes, y'all have been killing it, man. Like co-parenting's not easy.
Thanks.
There's situations that happen with me and Cindy because since she's my stepdaughter, like there's a bio dad that's involved, and I use that term. One of my friends uses that term with
Bio dad.
yeah, with her daughter's dad because she's remarried. But yeah, there's we've had some I'd say some conflicts there initially. I remember I remember there was this one time where uh we were trying to get a hold of him so we can drop Cindy off at his house for the weekend. We couldn't get a hold of him. He wasn't answering text messages. So we took Cindy and Asher over to, or we took Cindy with Asher to leave them at my mom's house for the weekend. So their grandmother's house. And a couple hours later, like Betty gets a text message saying like, "Hey, where's my daughter?" And at this time in our marriage, Betty was working up in Austin, 3.5 hours away with traffic, 16-hour shifts, 3 times a week. So she was like asleep. And we get this text message like, "Hey, where's my daughter? Hey, where's my effing daughter? Like, hey, I don't believe this. Like, you have her all week, and now you're not even letting me know where she's at." And she responded back like, "Hey, sorry, I was asleep. I was working some shifts. She's at Brian's mom's house. Like, you know where that's at. It's closer to his. It was closer to his house at the time than it was to our house." And so Sunday comes around. He drops Cindy back off, and I tell Cindy like, "Hey, how you doing? Go inside. Your mom just finished making food." And I step out and I close the door and I said, "Hey, so and so, come here. I want to have a conversation with you." And he's like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, I understand like y'all had a relationship together, you and Betty, you're Cindy's dad. I want you to see Cindy. I'm not of the place to where I think you should kick anybody out from seeing their children or like trying to stop them unless they're like causing harm or something." So I tell him like, "Hey, I want what's best for her." And at this time, oh, you know what? Asher wasn't even born yet. So we just dropped Cindy off. And he tells me, "You don't understand. Like, you don't have a kid. Like when you have a kid, or if you want to do that, you do it your own way. And I go, no, 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 no. I go, hey, so-and-so, this is my stepdaughter. If you really want to be a part of her life right now, then you would know what she's struggling with right now as far as reading. You would know what's her favorite book. You would know that she just learned how to ride a bike and she hadn't known for I don't know how long, but I had just taught her how to ride a bike. And you would know what like her strongest subject is in school, and you don't know any of that when I talk to her. I was like, so if you're saying that you love her and you take care of her, like I'm all for that. I was like, but you're not going to be texting my wife ever again like that. If I ever hear or see that you're cursing at my wife, like
we're gonna come correct.
Yeah, like we're going to have an issue here. And ever since then, like that was it. Like we've been able to go to like soccer matches for Cindy. We've been able to like go back and forth, drop off. There's been nothing of like kind of disrespect towards my wife or towards me in any kind of way. And I think when you have those direct conversations, it's a little bit easier to kind of like move forward with people. So like you said, like you haven't had any issues, but I feel like because of that, you guys are able to at least like have some form of communication in place, because it doesn't just get there overnight. Like,
no. It's just
like
believe me, it's not without its conflicts. It's not without its, we're going to have disagreements every now and then, we're still, we're co-parenting, whether you're together or not. Like, there's going to be a little bit of pushback and compromises and all this and that. But like we haven't had any petty squabbles or anything like that. The first year, I will say, was probably the roughest. I'm not going to get into it, but like that's because you're still healing from all the, all the stuff you put each other through. So like, but we definitely got through it. That was the goal. That was my goal. And, she wanted that too. And, we're at a point where things are pretty good.
And I think that's all you can do, right? Like, cause y'all both have your daughter in mind for it, right? You want what's best for your daughter. So if you're able to like look past each other's like
we're
flaws
both present for
or
her.
conflicts, like you're able to get past that, and like the only like both of y'all win from it, but then your daughter also wins from it as well too.
Yeah. Just wait till I'm just kidding. Wait till she's older, and then she's gonna, one of us is going to be the cool parent and one of us is going to be the mean parent. Either way, whether it's me or it's her, I'm not saying it's going to be one or the other, but it's like, kids will do that, even in the same household, dad's going to let me do this.
Yeah,
or
they're going to try to get away with everything.
That. Yeah. Mom said I could do that. And then like, it's kind of already, and they're little fibs. I'm not going to, like, my daughter's not a liar, but she's like, so for instance, she's her mom will call me and tell me like yeah, she says that you buy her all these apps on the phone. I was like, no, she tells me that you do that.
All the free apps, or
we get I'll get the free apps, but we both look at her like, Brooklyn, what are you doing? What are you trying to pull here?
Yeah, Cindy will do that like so often. She'll ask me something, I'm like, no, that's a solid no. And then I'll see her doing it like an hour later, and I'm like, what? So I'll go and ask Betty. I was like, hey, did Cindy actually do that? And she's like, yeah, I didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, all right. I was like, well, she asked me. So like now, I think we caught her once, and we're like, hey, you asked me, and then you asked your mom. Like, no, like if we tell you yes,
ask your mother, ask your father.
If we tell you yes, or if we tell you no, then don't go ask the other parent. Like that. That's what it is. That's the rule now. Like it's not one or the other. It's yes, no, or we'll say go ask your mom or go ask your dad. And so that's what it is. That's what it is now. And since then it's been pretty straightforward for it. So like she knows not to do that, because if we catch her, then it's like bam, it's over, man. Like no more of that. Like with lying or trying to get away with stuff. Like no, that's not here. Not today, Cindy.
I've always said don't let your kids catch you lying, because they'll learn.
Yeah.
They'll learn how to do it.
Yeah. Dude, we used to get lied to so much by our family though. So
yeah, and I became scary good at it. So I'm like,
oh my gosh. we used to play like in the backyard of our grandparents' house, and they wouldn't want us to go over there because there were scorpions over there. I don't think we even realized until we were like 18, 19, there were no scorpions back there.
Oh yeah, no, it was just like it was such a small yard, and like I don't know, whatever it is about preteens or teenagers, like we want to be somewhere not where everybody else is. So we would find the back
Yeah.
room or the backyard. We would just hang out, find somewhere to hang out. And Grandpa had all that clutter.
Where do you think you got like most of your like concepts of being a dad from? Do you think you got that from your dad, TV shows?
Yeah, it sounds so lame to say I got stuff from TV shows, but I think I'm starting to realize a lot of the stuff that like you see on TV, that I see on TV. I'm like, yeah, that works. That's true. Obviously, obviously, my dad too. Of course, my dad. He's here. Anytime I ever need it. Yeah, he'll always give me advice, and like I'm stubborn, so I don't like I'll take somebody's advice, but I'm real selective about it. I was like, I don't want to do things exactly like you, and obviously I know that a lot of things, like, okay, if I'm gonna learn it the hard way, I'm gonna learn it the hard way. Like I'm ready for that. Like I'm ready to admit when I'm wrong about something or whatever. But yeah,
What's
like
something that you
you want
learned?
to
What's something
huh?
you think you learned the hard way?
um Probably a lot having to do with the whole discipline thing. When like you can't bargain with your kid, or you can't talk them down from wherever they're at. Sometimes you got to just let them, send them to the room and let them blow off whatever steam. You can't really make them just stop throwing a tantrum. I mean, maybe there's different methods that I'm not aware of, but things like that. Like, don't get mad because they're mad. I can't afford to let I can't afford to fly off the handle, because that's just not, it's not healthy. It's not a healthy environment, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, things like that. I've learned a lot about myself, my own temperament, and how to not, I don't want to get so mad that I scar the kid or something, like
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, you can't be like militant, with your parent. You can't be too militant. I know some people, maybe it works for some other people, but you can't be this you don't want to be the enemy of your child.
Yeah. Think it'll take it down a dark path, I think. I've seen, or from what I remember, like going through high school, the kids that their parents were like insanely strict. Even they were so strict, but then they had their kids doing like extracurricular activities. Like those kids were the ones that were doing like crazier stuff behind their parents' backs than like the kids that were
Yeah,
they
like
had parents that were kind of
the
laid
further you
back.
hold them back, yeah, yeah, because it's like I think you get too caught up in like you're gonna do what I say, and then but at some point that kid they want to become their own person. So like there's a natural thing in us, like where we want to either figure things out for ourselves, or like learn for ourselves. Yeah, we want to learn for ourselves a lot of times. I know a lot of times we just want to have fun and we don't want to listen to, but in situations where like there's just no backing down, there's just absolutely zero leverage. I think there's a point, like, you got to let your kids, not let them get away with stuff, but I think you got to let them feel like they're getting away with stuff. You got
Mm.
to let them feel like, right, you got to let them feel like there's a little bit of, they have a little bit of slack, a little bit of
Yeah,
leeway,
like
like, yeah.
okay, you swayed my decision. I'll let you stay up an extra 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah, and sometimes that's fun. As a kid, that's a fun thing. You can't forget the things that like your parents do for you. They just, I read somewhere. I don't read much, but I read like a little thing. It's like you want to be random with your kids. You want to like just out of nowhere be like, hey, let's go to the park, or let's go do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And that's something that I do try to do. I try to be fun. I really do try to be fun, but within reason. Yeah, because sometimes I have a bad habit of staying up. And if she gets up, at like 1 in the morning, she's like, Daddy, what are you watching? And I'll be like, all right, come here, come on.
At like 1 in the morning, you're like, ah, get over here.
Yeah, sometimes it's cool, but then the 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, they they'll get used to it real quick, and then they think, oh, cool, so I could do this like any night, and they're like, no, it's not. This is not.
Oh yeah, dude. We let Asher stay at grandma's house, and like she tells us, she's like, no, he didn't sleep at all. Like he barely slept a few hours, and it's like, when he's at home, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock comes around, we put him up in his bed, and in 15 minutes, like he's asleep. So like I know he takes naps. And she's like, no, he didn't. He only slept like 5-6 hours. And so like when we put him in the car ride back, it's like a 30-minute drive. Before we get out of her neighborhood, he's like dead asleep. Like we can hear him like snoring in the back. And when
it's easy to stay up if you're allowed to.
And when it's your grandma like rocking and rolling, man, like he has the time of his life there. What do you think you always like listen to all the advice everybody was giving you like beforehand? Did you feel like you got this, or did you feel like I'm not sure if I can do this?
I feel like you got it. I feel like you feel like you got it when you got it, and then when you don't, like you don't. like you feel like you got it till you don't. I guess that's the best way to. Yeah, because sometimes it does seem. I was like, oh, it's a baby, it's a kid, it's easy, But then the minute she was born, like the hours, I don't know what it was. Like the day she was born, we were still at the hospital, we were waiting, and I remember just having this moment of clarity and realizing, like, because at the time, our finances were not good at all. We were trying to get on our feet, and I'm over here thinking like, man, I make like $800 a month. Like, how am I gonna do this, man? And I almost had like a nervous breakdown. Like, what if, like, I'm a dad now? What am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I have to provide for this child, for a whole family.
My diapers and wipes instead of getting Whataburger. What's this?
Wait, she needs more diapers?
I just bought some diapers last month. I know, like, we like buying like the big old pack of wipes and stuff. I know when you said it one time, like, dude, when you're stocked up on like diapers and wipes, you just feel like a boss. You're just like walk home with a big old box of diapers.
I'd be there with the stacks of diapers. I'd be there like the money stacks, but you had the stacks of diapers instead, because we had the little genie, and I'd always be organizing my diaper stacks.
Chris Money Cooremans over here with the diapers. You think you're ever gonna have another one?
I'm not trying not to. Like it's one of those things. I'm not thinking about it. But if it happens, if it's in the cards for me, if I meet a lady and she wants the same thing, and like, yeah, like I've never been like, oh, I only want one kid and that's it. Like I'm not digging my heels in one way or the other. If it turns out that all I ever have is my little girl, like I'm cool with that too. I've always been that way, because I never wanted to try to like force things too much. It's like I just I've accepted what may or may not happen, and So that's what kind of happened with Brooklyn. I didn't know that it was going to happen that way, a year before. It wasn't something that was like fully organized or planned, but I was open to it. Yeah. And that's kind of how I still am. I just have a different mindset to like relation. Obviously I would like for this one to be more planned. Yeah. I don't want to get into the same exact type of situation, you know what I mean? But
dude, we're about to have our third. And
I know, dude.
I think we're gonna have another one
awesome.
after that. I don't know if she's listening. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if she's listening. Hopefully, we have another one after Oliver's born.
Okay. Yeah, dude, like I don't understand when people are like, "Oh, I want 7 kids." It's like,
I say that. That's me. I'm like, yeah, we could have 5 kids. I think 5 kids is a good number. I don't know, but then you know what? If we have 5 kids, that gives me like a reason to buy a Tahoe, and I really like the Tahoe since I used to have a Yukon.
Yeah, I was like, I need 5 kids because I want to be able to
buy a bus.
Or something like that.
Dude,
we have a home.
So you just got over COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you ended up catching COVID, but dude, I remember talking to you through those what seemed like 4 weeks, because
It was at least 4 weeks.
you
Yeah.
tested positive twice, even like after the quarantine period, or what was it?
I no, I took like 6 tests, and like the last one was the one that.
6?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez. In the period of like how long?
So I started. I got tested the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I was
Okay.
still in denial. I was still in denial. I was like, I'm gonna go back to work. It's not gonna be a big deal. I was like, it's already been so long since I've supposedly been
Since you
exposed.
got
I
the
think
test, yeah.
So I was like, I think I'll be fine. And then the day before I got my results back, it would have been the day I would have been back to work, and um I was already starting to feel it. I was like, pretty sure I got it. And then I got my
Mhm.
positive result, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going into work. And that was the start of like it was the start. So those 2 weeks went, and then well, yeah, I just kept getting tested and tested. There's all this information out there. They said, okay, 2 weeks, you should be able to go around people, but my job wanted to see the negative result. So it's fair.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be held liable and stuff. But I was
Oh,
already going on
definitely,
four.
dude.
I
Like
was already going on
it's
four
better to
weeks. I was
get
like,
like a like in writing, hey, it's negative, rather than the quarantine day period. Or even if you're not doing that, take the full like 14
yeah, I
days
was.
off or whatever.
Yeah, it was some people. My dad lasted another week after I did.
Did you have to pay for the test, or
No,
was it
no.
free?
Some depending on where you went. Yeah, no. One of the main, I guess, labs or companies or whatever that's doing it, they're doing it for free. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the last one I did was at CVS.
Yeah,
I
I
think
did. We had
if you
a
have insurance, they bill your insurance. I think
so
if
we
do
had
you,
we
if you
had
have.
a scare at work where somebody had tested positive for COVID. So the people that he was in close contact with had to go get tested. Um, and it wasn't even like a lot of us, but you know, since Betty's in like she's a nurse, and she deals primarily with like elderly patients. I'm like, oh man, let me get tested, because she deals with a bunch of elderly patients, so I don't want her having it and then giving it to like a patient. And we went to CVS, and I don't think they charged us, but that one was negative too. The
You
guy,
did
it's
shove
it's
that thing up your nose. Did they do it or did they
yeah,
like
no,
keep
I
it?
did it. But the guy that supposedly tested positive for it couldn't produce paperwork, so they ended up letting him go because he couldn't produce any kind of
See
paperwork.
that sucks. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you hear about a lot of people who are supposedly what they call long hauler, where you can continue to test positive for months, and
yeah,
it's really messing up people's livelihoods because it's like I can't go back to work. Like I know I'm not sick, I know
yeah,
I'm not contagious anymore, but like it's like they for for I guess for good reasons, but there's no really rule that says like you should be not contagious. This is so new,
yeah.
like nobody really knows for sure, so nobody wants to.
I mean, everybody's just being
Yeah,
cautious. I understand like
super
works and
cautious. Yeah,
stuff being cautious. It's crazy everything. But
I'm
so
really
like
glad I
you
finally
weren't
came out
going to
negative.
work. Um, your grandmother, were you able to see your grandmother? She's how old already? She's like
I
in her
think my
90s,
grandma,
right?
I think she's 89, and I think her birthday's in January, so
Okay.
I think she's pushing 90. I think she's right at 90 right now.
My grandma
And
just
no,
turned
I didn't
94
get to.
this 2020.
Hey, there.
94. Happy birthday, grandma. Um, well, so you tested positive for COVID, and you weren't allowed back to work. Did you have Brooklyn during that time?
No, I didn't. There were we waited the 2 weeks, and she had already been gone for 3 weeks at this point, and I don't know. I got really detached, and I think she did too. Maybe she didn't realize it.
So
She,
like aside from like the military people that I know, or the people that travel out of town, Was this like the first time of like prolonged being away from your daughter?
Probably. I think the most prior to that was probably like a week or week and a half. I think it was 2 weeks, because when COVID first started, we were being very cautious, because it was real scary those first few months. And so we were doing, I think, weeks on and we were doing like week to week for a little
Mm,
while, because it was just really sketchy and we didn't even know. So it's like we didn't want her commuting back and forth too much, so we were doing, I think, week to week, something like that.
yeah.
But I'm a big baby and I'm really attached. So like I those 3 weeks felt like much longer.
Yeah. Man, well, you got through it, right? You were able to see her again. Y'all are like back on a regular schedule, or?
No, right now, we will be. Yeah, we will be when I pick her up again. But the holidays we kind of did it a little different because of the holidays too.
Dude,
So
holidays threw off everything, man. I don't even remember what day it was or what week it was on.
we didn't have a Thanksgiving. We ate turkey. My dad still cooked
Yeah,
food, but it was just the three of us. We didn't. It was a
yeah,
very somber. I don't know what you call it. I don't even know what somber
yeah. I
means.
mean, everybody's being safe, so it's like I understand,
Yeah,
but at the
yeah.
same time, like it's still there's only so much that you can try to do to make it better. It's not going to be like how it was originally. But I still, I don't know. It's like nostalgia, right? Like it's never going to be like the days like 10, 15 years ago. But even then, like you're like, man, this isn't even as good as like last year. Um, but like I saw something today that said like there's nowhere to go but like up. Like 2021, you don't even have to be the best year ever. You just have to be better than 2020. Like there's
That's not
nowhere
a
to go.
high.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not a
Like
high bar.
there's nowhere to go for you. Like,
The bar's been set. Yeah, like
yeah, like, dude. Well, man, um, I'd say like to kind of close this thing out, if you had like some final thoughts to tell like a new father, give somebody advice, what would you tell them? What would be your like fatherly advice?
uh, live in the moment because it goes by really fast.
Yeah.
Like enjoy the moments because yeah, I've been too tired on too many occasions, and like I try to make every moment count. I try because
Yeah.
you might not always be in the mood to, but like yeah, because those kids they go a mile a minute.
Yeah,
I
man.
was like, you got too much energy for me, kid.
They really do. And like when you have these conversations and you reflect on it like just a little bit and you put yourself out there and like talk and you talk with me and stuff, like when we hang up and when you reflect on it, you're like, man, I was this little human, like I was this little girl, I was this little dude.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens to me. And you just like next time you see him, you're like picking him up and you're like, come here. Because you have this like sweet moment in your heart and in your mind, and then they're like, "Get away, daddy!" And it's like, all right,
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm gonna regret that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
sometimes it happens. Yeah, where she's like, where she tells me, she'll be like, because you try not to be mean, but then you're like, hey, you're talking a little too much. It doesn't sound that nice, but you're talking too much. But then she does it back to me. She says, I'll tell her like one thing, literally. She's like,
yeah.
"Daddy, you're talking too much." I'm like, "Yeah, there it is,
I
there
mean,
it
that's
is."
me. Like that's me talking to
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I can't even be mad. I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, she
We
got that."
we got some fast food right now for Asher. We got him some nuggets, and it was like a 15-20 minute wait. And Asher was talking the whole time. He wasn't talking to us. He was just talking. I have no idea what he was saying. And then every like 5 minutes, he'd throw me his like beanie from the back of the car, and then he'd just start laughing at me.
See, because to him, that's what conversation is. When he hears
Yeah.
you talking, he just thinks, "Oh, daddy's just blah 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 blah." So he's like,
Yep.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
He's like, I could
Dude.
do that.
Well, awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. Uh, like I said, I appreciate it, man. Like we
I'm
have
glad it worked out. I'm
conversations
glad I
all
was able to do it.
like we're gonna have. I'd like to have a lot of other dads just come on and like share as much as their story as they want to. Have me ask them a couple questions. I kind of want to end with as well. Like, is there you have anybody in mind that would want to come on, or you think
Dude,
should come on?
I was just thinking about that, and my a good friend of mine, Anthony, he's a dad. I think I think his daughter is 7 or 8,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, he's got a
Good
pretty
age.
he's a pretty interesting dude. I think you would like having him on the show. He would love it. I think he
Yeah,
would.
man. Awesome. We'll give him the
Yeah.
info. Tell him to check it out. See if he likes it.
All right, cool, man. Yeah.
All right, Star Lord. I'll let you out. You're Chris Cooremans. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Chris Cooremans. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Okay Dad Podcast signing off. I'm Brian.